Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we have something special on the menu, the Necromancer in Diablo 4. Now, he's been out about 24 hours, give or take, and we already have a couple of relevant builds for the class. And I gotta tell you, out of all the classes I played, this one feels the most powerful. I essentially had no issue going through the game, no survivability issues, no damage issues, nothing whatsoever. The build we're going to be discussing today is a summons build. That's right, I'm talking about skeletal warriors, mages, even the golem is going to fight for us and essentially annihilate all of our enemies, including bosses, in very rapid fashion. Now the build requires you to have nothing. In essence, this one will, yes, pun not intended, you don't need any specific legendary affixes to actually make this build work. So let's jump right into the talents, and you can follow along with the footage in the background. First off, basic skills. You have a choice of Reap, Decompose, Hemorrhage, and Bone Spear. There are two viable options from my point of view, well, fine, three. Hemorrhage is what we're going to be using, but the thing is, you're not really going to be using that basic skill all that much. You're going to be generating your essence from another skill, and it's not going to be this one. Hemorrhage I get to use sometimes on a boss when it doesn't get deleted all that quickly, but honestly you gotta have points into this one. So if you prefer Decompose for extra corpses or Bone Splinter for the vulnerable, that's fine. My recommendation, give Hemorrhage a try. Burst an enemy's blood dealing damage. Hemorrhage has a 20% chance to form a blood orb. And enhanced Hemorrhage, which basically is a given at this point. After picking up said blood orb, the next Hemorrhage also deals damage to enemies around your target and grants 2 additional essence per hit. And finally, the Acolyte's Hemorrhage, we're going to be able to attack a whole lot faster, so when you need the essence, you can build it back up very quickly. Again, very rarely you're actually going to be using this skill, maybe sometimes on a stubborn boss, if that ever is the case. Moving on to core skills here, MVP is going to be Blood Surge in our case. Draw blood from enemies dealing 20% damage and expel a blood nova dealing 50% damage. Blood Surge's nova damage is increased by 10% per enemy drained up to a whopping 50%. Now what you gotta understand from this one, its damage it's twofold. First the initial suck and then the big AoE explosion. And here's the thing, the skill has a tiny visual telemark. It doesn't look like it's gonna be hitting all that many enemies, but in actuality the actual area of effect is a whole lot larger. Give this one a spin, a full 5 points. And of course we're gonna go with Enhanced Blood Surge. Blood Surge heals you for 2.5% of your maximum life when drawing blood from enemies, but if 4 or more enemies are drawn from, then heal for an additional 2.5% of your maximum life. Essentially, this is your sustain, this is how you stay healthy. You're not really gonna be in any danger of dying, but the point is you wanna stay healthy for additional effects. And finally, it's gonna be Paranormal Blood Surge, and this one gives us once in a couple of casts a big bada boom from Blood Surge. If an enemy is damaged by Blood Surge's Nova while you are healthy, which again is why we want to stay healthy, then gain 1 stack of Overwhelming Blood. When you have 5 stacks of Overwhelming Blood, your next Blood Surge overpowers. That means 1 big bada boom worth of damage. And you might be wondering, okay, what is this healthy business about? Oh, they're just referring to the 80% or more health, which is definitely doable if you keep on spamming Blood Surge. No problem whatsoever. Most of the damage is going to be tanked by your minions anyway, especially when you get the Golem. Now, before we move on to Macabre, we gotta talk about the Book of the Dead. Essentially, these are your skills for your skeletal warriors. Skeletal Mages will be unlocked at level 15 and the Golem will be unlocked at level 25. So at this point, you should only go for the Skeletal Reapers. 10% chance to carve the flesh off enemies, forming a corpse, but it can only happen on the same enemy every 5 seconds. You're gonna need those corpses because your energy is gonna be coming back from corpse explosion and a lot of your burst damage as well, or damage over time depending on which way you chose to go. As for Skeletal Mages, as soon as you get Cold Mages, you want to go for the first upgrade. Each time your Cold Mages damages an enemy with their primary attack, you gain 2 essence. This is one of the sources of your essence coming back to you, but it's not the only one. Back to the Macabre tree. Here we're gonna put 5 points into Corpse Explosion. Right now, when it comes to Diablo, this is your primary source of damage on a whole lot of builds. It's the most powerful ability as of yet. And we're going to be taking Enhanced Corpse Explosion as well. This increases the radius by 15%. We're going to be getting tons of corpses everywhere. We're going to explode them, no problem whatsoever. Do not go for the next enhancement. It's not really worth it. I played around with Blighting Corpse Explosion, and this one is good when you're doing those little events with towers and all whatnot. But normally you want the burst from Enhanced Corpse Explosion, skeleton, and that's pretty much it. Next, we're going to be putting 3 points into Grim Harvester. Consuming a corpse generates 9 essence, and this is how you get your essence back. That was a boss that got absolutely annihilated. Now I'm gonna have to put more footage. And finally, we're gonna be going with Fuel by Death. 3 points into this one. You deal 12% increased damage for 4 seconds after consuming a corpse. Essentially, consuming a corpse means a lot of things. You can explode it, you can use it to summon something. It doesn't really matter. This one should stay up all the time. Now, since we're on the subject, there's one thing that you gotta bear in mind. When you summon all of your Skeletal Mages, all of your Warriors, that ability is still active, and when you activate it, you're gonna empower for the next 5 seconds all of your summons, dealing extra damage, and you're also gonna be healing them. So don't forget to activate the actual Undead Priest that comes out from a corpse and heals and buffs all of your minions. But we'll talk more about that in the gameplay section. Now, corruption and summoning is gonna be a hard pass on both of them, and finally we're gonna be going for the ultimate. You can go for whatever you want here. Army of the Dead is very cool. It looks cool, it helps you out, but honestly, I don't really get to cast it a whole lot. Maybe once I see a boss, but everything gets deleted anyway. I went for Inspiring Leader. After you have been healthy for at least 4 seconds, you and your minions gain 12% attack speed. And this has been the limit of my points in the Diablo IV Beta. If you could have gone for a Hellbent Commander, that would have been even more fantastic. But as it stands now, again, you can go for Army of the Dead, or you can go for Inspiring Leader for a more passive kind of gameplay style. And that's gonna be the build. There are a couple of key features I would like to point out when it comes to actual gameplay. First of all, your Raised Skeleton is not something never to be used. Oh, hello, event. Anybody here? There we go, we got an event to showcase the gameplay a little bit. Your Raised Skeleton should be used from time to time, not necessarily for the heal, because normally your summons don't die unless there's a boss and he has massive amounts of damage. In which case, because you're generating corpses all the time, even if nothing dies, you just simply press once again your Raised Skeleton and you pop up either a brand new Skeletal Mage or Warrior, or you heal your skeletons and give them 20% increased damage for 5 seconds. Keep in mind the active part of this ability. That is a huge chunk of damage for your summons. And of course I can just stay in the middle and essentially let them do everything. It's honestly a non-issue. Have a look. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm not even going to buff them. I'm just going to wait for it to finish. In order for this event to finish, what you gotta do is pick up all the souls off the ground, but I think we got a friend here that is gonna pick them up for us. Like I said before, my friends, a non-issue. But we're gonna be doing a dungeon as well. The boss spawn, and I'm gonna delete them with a whole lot of corpse explosions, and that's it. As you saw there, I never even got to use Hemorrhage because there's no reason to. I spam my Blood Nova, and when I need to get my essence back, I'm gonna be spamming Corpse Explosion. So essentially, I'm doing damage all the time. But let's do a dungeon, something a bit more challenging. If you're gonna be farming yourself for legendaries, then ignore the normal mobs, simply look for elite mobs, and then go for them, like so. I think there was an elite somewhere. There you go. Buff your skeletons and activate Corpse Explosion to get your essence back. As you can see, the targets get deleted right quickly without any issue whatsoever. Corpse Explosion, a whole lot of damage, burst, and if you... Oh, there we go. We got a brand new legendary. Let's see if it's an actual good affix. Run into the middle, start spamming your AoE. As soon as you get low on essence, you should have enough corpses on the ground to absolutely annihilate whatever stands before you, like that elite that just dropped a legendary. Hopefully this time we get a better affix. And of course, as per usual, don't forget to buff your summons. Each time one of your summoning minions damages an enemy, they gain 20% attack speed for 3 seconds. This is actually a excellent, look at this, an excellent legendary affix for this specific build. Each time one of your summoning minions damages an enemy, they gain 20% attack speed for 3 seconds, stacks up 60%. This is one of the legendaries that is gonna help you with the build. Other legendary affixes are something like this. Your maximum number of Skeletal Mages is increased by 2. But again, you don't really require these affixes to make the build work. It'll be a bit more streamlined, but the build works fine without you having to get specific items for it. So simply work with what you got and you're gonna be all fine with a summons build. Now, about that boss fight. Now, this should be a boss fight, but I'm gonna wait till the protection shrine actually runs out so we don't get a benefit from it. This means you are invulnerable and unstoppable, and that's not what I want to showcase. I want to showcase the build itself. And here we go. Now, Resurrected Malice, one of the more common bosses in Diablo. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna start spamming, it's gonna start dying. It's as simple as that. Don't worry about the crowd control, don't worry about anything. Simply go for the damage, my friends. Damage. Damage. More corpse explosion, more burst, please. And as you can see, the target got absolutely melted. What more do you want than this? One thing though, it can be a smart idea not to blow up all the corpses immediately for that super big burst of damage. Although you can and the target will die, it's not a problem. But it's a good idea to leave 1 or 2 corpses just in case any one of your skeleton dies, or if you, in case you want to buff them to deal that extra 20% damage. And that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. And if you're having trouble with the Diablo IV Beta crashes and all sorts of problems, I might be able to help you. Playing the cards right now. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!